The year is 1960, and the Denver Broncos have won their first ever AFL football game against the Boston Patriots with a final score of 13-10. This would only be the start to the great NFL franchise known as the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are a great professional football team to root for, and today I'm going to tell you why. My main points are that the Broncos have always been a very good football organization, the Broncos have always been an underdog team, and the team also has a very bright future because the team is relatively young. The Denver Broncos were founded in the year 1960 as a part of the AFL. As you can see in my PowerPoint, there are the logos that the Broncos have had during the years. The first two logos were when the team was a part of the AFL, and the other three were when the team became a part of the NFL. The Denver Broncos have always been a very good team in the past with many good players and many good teams. Teams that had made it far in the playoffs and even to the Super Bowl. The Broncos have had great players such as John Elway, Peyton Manning, Von Miller, Shannon Sharpe, Terrell Davis, Steve Atwater, Champ Bailey, and Rod Smith. These players have been leaders on some of the Broncos' very good teams. Teams that have gone on to win many games, teams that have gone on to make the playoffs and win many playoff games, and even teams that have gone on to win Super Bowls. The Broncos have made the Super Bowl 8 times throughout all the team's years, and they have managed to win 3 out of the 8. In many of these Super Bowls, the Broncos have been seen as underdogs. The Broncos were considered underdogs in the Super Bowl when they played the Carolina Panthers, which was run by the MVP of that year, which was Cam Newton. But however, Von Miller and the rest of the Broncos team were able to win that Super Bowl. The Broncos were also underdogs in the Super Bowl when they played the Green Bay Packers, which was run by the great quarterback Brett Favre. The Broncos were able to win this game with which some would call the Broncos' best player ever, which was John Elway. The Broncos were also underdogs when they had Tim Tebow as their quarterback, which was known as Tebow time. I remember watching that playoff game when they took on the Pittsburgh Steelers and beat them in overtime on that pass from Tim Tebow to Demaryius Thomas on the very first play of overtime. It was a very exciting play, and it was just cool to see. The Denver Broncos were never the most dominant team in the NFL, like how the New England Patriots were from the year 2000 to the year 2019, or like how the St. Louis Rams were in the years 1999 to 2003. The Denver Broncos are especially underdogs right now because of how young of a team they are with not that much experience. The Denver Broncos have a very bright future ahead of them because of how young their team is. They have young players such as edge rusher Bradley Chubb, the great wide receiver Courtland Sutton, the strong tight end Noah Fant, and the young but talented quarterback Drew Lock. And also we can't forget the undrafted running back Philip Lindsay, who has been having himself a great first few seasons. Plus all these new rookies that the Broncos had just drafted in this year's NFL draft. They drafted wide receiver Jerry Jeudy with the first pick. He is a great wide receiver out of Alabama with great route running ability. They also drafted another great wide receiver out of Penn State, KJ Hamler. He is a great receiver with incredible speed. Another great pick the Broncos had was drafting Lloyd Cushenberry from LSU. He was one of the great offensive linemen from the incredible LSU team run by the Heisman Trophy winner Joe Burrow. With all of these young players, they are able to do many things with their team. With these young players, the future looks very bright for the Denver Broncos. These young rookies will also be getting mentored by some of the greatest players in the NFL. Von Miller has been a great mentor to the young Bradley Chubb. Unfortunately, Von Miller got hurt this season in practice just before the season started and is now currently out for the season. But when both Von Miller and Bradley Chubb are both on the field again, it will be hard for offense to stop these two fantastic edge rushers. Melvin Gordon, who was just picked up this offseason, has been a great mentor to Philip Lindsay and the other running back, Royce Freeman. Since the Broncos have gotten Melvin Gordon, it allows the offense to have that 1-2 punch at running back, which will make it hard for defense to stop them. Also, even though Courtland Sutton is young and has only been in the NFL for a few years, he is able to be a huge help and mentor to the new rookie wide receiver Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler. Unfortunately, just like Von Miller, Courtland Sutton also got hurt this season and will be out for the year. But when he is able to play again, the Broncos will have a great wide receiving core with also help from the tight end Noah Fant. Hopefully next year everyone will be completely healthy because the Denver Broncos with a healthy roster can be pretty lethal to opposing teams. Since they will be able to throw with all those great passing options of Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, and Noah Fant, they will also be able to run the ball with that 1-2 punch they have with Philip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon. It will also be hard for opposing teams to pass on the Denver Broncos with the edge rusher Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, and Bradley Chubb. Here are the sources I've used while developing my speech. I hope you enjoyed hearing about the Broncos' past history and how they're an underdog football organization and how they have a bright future ahead of them with all their young players. Thank you for listening to me today, and hopefully all this information I just gave you about the Denver Broncos will lead you into rooting for them this Sunday when they take on the Miami Dolphins. Although they didn't win last week, I think they will be able to win this game because they're playing the young, inexperienced quarterback Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama. Although he has won his first 3 games as the starting quarterback for the Dolphins, I feel the Broncos can come away this week with a win. All right, thank you guys for listening to me today. And, thank you.